Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. So, have you been told that you have chronic pain in your back or your knees, and you've gone to the doctor and they've said, "What do you expect? You're getting older." I just hate that. As someone who's been working in research for over 25 years with chronic pain research participants, I can't emphasize enough that there are three things that we can consider to change that will stop pouring gasoline on our chronic pain conditions and help us reduce what's called inflammation in our bodies. So please think about subscribing. This is me, Healthy by George. We come each week to share about health and wellness and our spiritual and mental well-being so that we can be functioning well into our 80s and 90s. That's my goal, and I hope it's yours too. So please click that, share this whole episode, and please subscribe. I'd love to see you each week. So why is it that we think that there is this issue of what we do as habits that pour gasoline on our chronic pain conditions? I will be upfront with you. And the first one is the concept of rest. Rest is really the worst thing that we can possibly think of because rest is just going to make us become stiffer and more inability of moving. The truth is, movement is king. Movement of any kind that you can do, simple movement. Do standing on your toes. Walking is huge. Getting up from a chair, use a little support. I think there's tons and tons of videos on YouTube that show you simple ways to move so that you can start to get a sense of how your pain can start to reduce if you're moving. You're getting your joint, the blood flow is moving. That whole process of getting you moving helps your body get nutrients and things that are required to our joints. And it's a lot if we don't move. It becomes static. Everything. Our lymph system is static. Our blood system is static. Everything is static if we're not moving. Movement is king. This is my mantra. Movement is king, period. That's the first habit that we really must ignore. Do not rest unless it's a back pain and you've thrown out your disc. But even still, make an effort to move. Go to your physical therapist. Speak to a physical therapist about how to manage movement when you have suddenly thrown out your back. So the second thing that we do is we eat inflammatory foods. And this is really hard for me. I don't know how hard it is for you, but the biggest inflammatory food is sugar. Sugar and more sugar. Sugar is a huge driver of inflammation in our bodies. It's something that we just don't need. We don't need it. We do not have to have sugar. We make enough fuel from proteins and carbs. We don't need to have added sugar. So really take a look at how you're starting your day. Yes, berries and oatmeal is great, but eating something like a pastry or a muffin or some kind of really heavily frosted or lots of sugar in it is not going to get you there. Even a bagel and cream cheese is not a great choice. Very little protein. The carbs are really high. The sugar in the carbs and the cream cheese is high. It's just not going to get us there. And the drinks, the sugary drinks of coffees, it's just a loaded gun of pouring gasoline or shooting ourselves in the joint when you are eating and consuming sugar. It's the biggest driver of inflammation in our bodies. So if you do anything, just start to decrease your sugar. It's not easy. When you look at the sugar that is in most products out there, they're going to be in the double digits, 20, 15, 10. Start to be very conscious of how much sugar are you eating? How much sugar is in that cereal that you eat? How much sugar is in that muffin? These muffins here in New York are big. They're huge. They're like the size of your hand. Just take a look and figure out how much sugar. Because the truth is, we're supposed to stay like within 9 teaspoons or something, or 8 teaspoons. Even that is too much. It's such a challenge to decrease sugar, frankly. And I'm trying my best, but I still crave it, frankly. I crave some sugar after dinner. I crave some sugar after lunch. But I'm trying to figure out ways I can have a little bit of sugar that's 5 grams or 3 grams that will make me happy. I don't know about you, but that's what's going to make me happy. I think the other thing, the third habit that's always a problem, is that we're afraid or hesitant to move. We're hesitant. We feel that we aren't going to help ourselves. So we choose not to go to a family outing, or we choose not to go on a little walk with a friend, or we choose not to go to a social setting because we might have to stand for a little bit of time. This is something called central sensitization. And this is when our brain starts to be fearful of any kind of movement. And so we really do become stiffer because we're fearful. And it's not something that it's hard to overcome, basically, especially if you're having horrible pain like I have had in the past. You're afraid to walk. You're afraid to move that hip. I think when I was preparing for my hip replacement, I made myself walk with a cane and with a walker stick, a stick. So at least 3 times a day, so that I added up to close to a mile. I still maintained a mile of walking. Was it pleasant? No. Did my brain scream at me? Yes. But I noticed that as I kept going, the pain did decrease. It was still there, but it did get less. I didn't keep myself from moving. You have to talk to yourself in your brain and remind yourself that it's going to start to feel a little less painful as you move a little more. You almost have to reverse engineer how you think about moving with your pain so you can let go of the fear of moving when you have chronic pain. I understand, and the pain is a complex problem. And it so often has elements of how we were raised, the type of background we come from, how our parents expressed pain, how our environment supports our pain, or the pain is just something that has so many elements that are involved. And so we really have to work with ourselves and our mindset. And that's why so often, many of the things that I talk to about patients is self-hypnosis and mindfulness. I know these sound a little crazy because the pain, you're like, you're going to do what with pain? I understand. But frankly, as someone who's had a lot of pain in her past, I really can appreciate mindfulness and self-hypnosis. Is it a fast, quick fix? No. But does it give you tools that help you turn that knob down for your pain in combination with medicines that I'm using from my doctor and other things like topicals and patches that have helped me in addition to mindfulness and self-hypnosis? So please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week where we can share many of the things that we're challenged with as we get older, because I really want us to understand. I've got a terrible tickle. I really want us to understand how we can stay functional and thriving well into our 80s and 90s. It's so possible. And even if you're late to the table, I'm late. I'm very late about getting physically active. I'm somebody who prefers to stay home and read, but I'm really working with myself to make sure I am moving and I'm not allowing the fear in my brain to prevent me from taking action. So again, please join me each week. Think about subscribing, push that like button, share this episode. And if you're wanting to understand about leg weakness, take a look at the episode we did last week or this past week. And I hope that helps you understand too more about leg weakness. Be intentional, my friends. We have this one precious life. Let's live it vigorously into our 80s and 90s. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.